Hey, listener, got that big Shakespeare exam looming?
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't sweat it. We're diving deep into The Merchant of Venice and The Tempest today.
To give you all the tools you need.
All the ammo you need to just ace that test.
Yeah, we're talking themes.
Iconic lines.
Character analysis.
Think of this as your secret weapon.
Exactly. We've been sifting through tons of sources,
Mountains of them.
scholarly articles, historical context.
All that good stuff.
You name it.
So you don't have to.
We're here to make Shakespeare
Not just understandable.
more fun.
Okay, so let's start off in Venice.
The setting for The Merchant of Venice.
Right? Canals, gondolas, romance. Shakespeare really sets the scene.
He does.
But get this. He probably never even went to Italy.
Wild, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, for Elizabethans, Venice was like this fantasy land.
Oh, totally.
Think sophisticated, a trade hub, overflowing with luxury.
Kind of like England's dream version of itself, but with more tolerance, at least on the surface, right?
Yeah.
Except not so much for the Jewish community.
Right.
And that's where the conflict with Shylock, the Jewish moneylender, gets really interesting.
Yeah,
So is he a classic Shakespearean villain?
that's a great question.
Like just bad to the bone?
I mean, he demands his pound of flesh.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore.
It does make him seem ruthless,
Right?
but he's also been subjected to so much prejudice.
Oh, totally.
I mean, his servant leaves him for a Christian.
Ouch.
His daughter steals from him and runs off with a Christian.
Yeah, double ouch.
And he's constantly mocked for his religion.
So much pressure.
You can imagine the pressure cooker he's living in.
Oh, absolutely. And then he delivers that line that just sends chills down your spine.
Which one?
Hath not a Jew eyes. Hath not a Jew. Hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions.
Oh, man.
Talk about a gut punch.
That's Shakespeare at his best.
Right.
That speech forces everyone, the audience, even the other characters in the play,
To see him as human.
to see Shylock's humanity, his pain, his rage.
He's not just some villain.
He's complex.
Right. He makes us think about what justice means.
And how it connects to revenge.
Yeah, is it always so different?
Right.
Shakespeare loves to keep us guessing.
He does.
Okay, so we've got this complex character in Shylock, but then we've got Portia.
Oh, yeah.
And she is not your typical damsel in distress.
No way.
She is a whirlwind of brains and bravery.
Absolutely. Portia pushes the limits of what women were even allowed to do in Elizabethan England.
Right, like what were they allowed to do?
Not much. But Portia's smart,
Yeah,
she's strategic, and she takes charge of her own destiny.
she does.
Remember the casket test?
Oh, yeah.
She rigs it,
Totally wigs it.
using music and little hints to make sure Bassanio picks the right one.
So smart.
Then she disguises herself as a man to argue in court
Whoa.
and saves Antonio's life.
Ugh.
Talk about taking charge.
And that whole ring situation at the end,
Oh, yeah.
she totally outmaneuvers Bassanio.
I know.
Elizabethan audiences must have been gasping.
I bet they were.
Yeah. It's like Shakespeare saying, hey, women can be clever and powerful too.
Totally challenging the norms.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute.
Okay.
Talk about the big themes running through The Merchant of Venice.
Okay.
Love, money, and mercy seem to be at the heart of it.
Definitely at the heart of it.
Like ingredients in a Shakespearean recipe simmering together to create the drama.
I like that analogy.
Right.
Yeah, we see all kinds of love.
Oh, yeah.
The romantic kind between Portia and Bassanio,
Yeah.
the deep friendship between Antonio and Bassanio,
Yeah.
and even the more calculating kind from those gold diggers after Portia's fortune.
Fortune hunters.
Then you've got money,
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
driving the plot forward,
Right.
Antonio's risky ventures, Bassanio needing that loan, and of course,
Shylock.
Shylock demanding his pound of flesh
Yeah. And amidst all of that, there's this constant tension.
between justice and mercy.
It's like Shakespeare is asking us, what would you do?
It really is.
That trial scene where Shylock demands his pound of flesh. Talk about intense.
It's a nail biter.
It is. It's like two different ideas of justice are going head to head in the courtroom.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Shakespeare blends English common law with Venetian legal principles.
Wow.
Shylock wants that contract followed to the letter.
Which would have made sense to an Elizabethan audience.
Absolutely. They were used to stricter interpretations,
Right.
but then Portia comes in
Oh, yeah.
with these legal loopholes and wordplay that would have blown their minds.
Totally.
Shakespeare's showing us that justice isn't always simple.
Right.
It can be subjective, even manipulated.
Okay, before we move on to The Tempest,
Okay.
I've got to ask,
Yeah.
what are some of those lines from Merchant that are practically guaranteed to be on the exam?
Oh, you bet. All that glisters is not gold.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Shakespeare's giving us a warning,
Against.
judging by appearances.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, the real value is deeper.
So true. What about that line about mercy? That one always gets me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The quality of mercy is not strained. It's so powerful.
Pure Shakespeare.
Right?
He's reminding us that true forgiveness
It just flows.
flows freely.
Yeah, it's not forced or anything.
Free transaction.
You know.
Comes from the heart.
And, of course,
Yeah.
there's that line from Shylock
Oh, yeah.
that just cuts to the core of what it means to be human.
What is it?
The one where he talks about bleeding.
Oh, right. If you prick us, do we not bleed?
Yes.
It's like he's holding up this mirror to the audience,
Yeah.
shattering their prejudices.
He's saying,
Hey, we might be different, but we feel pain just like you.
it's true.
It is.
All right, listener, make sure you've got those written down somewhere safe.
Yes.
Good tip.
Now it's time to trade those Venetian canals for a magical island.
Let's go!
Let's set sail for the Tempest.
Such a shift in setting, right?
It is. From the bustling city,
To this remote island.
shrouded in mystery.
I know.
It's like Shakespeare hit the reset button on the world.
He did.
So why the island?
Good
What's the
question.
big idea?
I think the island acts like a microcosm,
A mini society.
like a little model of society.
Oh, yeah.
This allows Shakespeare to explore big themes: power, colonialism, forgiveness.
Oh, wow. In a condensed way.
Yeah, very intense.
Like a pressure cooker for drama. And you know what's interesting?
What is it?
The Tempest is from later in Shakespeare's career, right?
It is.
Do you think that's why it feels like he's dealing with even deeper issues than in Merchant? Like he's wrestling with bigger questions?
Yeah, there's definitely this sense of maturity, of looking back and reflecting on life's big questions.
Okay, let's talk characters.
Okay.
Starting with Prospero, the exiled Duke of Milan. Been stuck on this island for 12 years.
12 years.
He's the one with all the magic, right?
Exactly.
Controlling the weather.
Yeah, conjuring spirits.
Prospero's magic gives him incredible power over everyone on that island.
He's got power over Ariel.
The spirit.
And even Caliban, the island's native inhabitant.
But there's a twist, right?
There is.
He's not some goody two-shoes wizard.
No, he's not all good.
What's driving him?
Revenge. Wants to get back at those who wronged him.
But
As the play goes on,
as the play goes on,
he starts to think about forgiveness.
he does. It's another one of those Shakespearean dualities.
Power and forgiveness all tangled together.
Wow. And it all leads to that line.
Which one?
When Prospero says, the rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's saying that true strength is letting go
You know, the anger.
and bitterness,
Yeah, letting go is hard.
especially when you've been wronged.
I know.
Okay, let's talk about Miranda, Prospero's daughter,
Oh, yeah. She grew up completely isolated.
on that island.
Yeah, imagine that. The only men she's ever known are her father and Caliban.
So when those shipwrecked nobles show up,
She's captivated.
totally.
Yes.
And then there's that line of hers,
Which one?
oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
Oh, man, it's so perfect.
Right. It sums up her innocence.
And her one,
She sees the good in everyone.
even those who hurt her father.
It speaks to her naivete, but also her compassion.
It really does.
Speaking of causing hurt, we got to talk about Caliban.
Oh, yeah, Caliban.
He's the island's native inhabitant,
Right.
but he ends up enslaved by Prospero.
Yeah, he does.
Caliban is such a fascinating character.
And controversial.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's portrayed as savage and deformed,
called a monster even.
but he's also deeply connected to the island.
And his language.
So poetic at times.
I know. It's like he represents the colonized other
The voice of those who've been exploited and silenced.
and his resentment towards
It
Prospero.
raises those uncomfortable questions about colonialism
About the exploitation of native people.
and their land.
And the way Prospero uses magic to control Caliban
Oh, yeah.
makes you think about how power can be used to manipulate and oppress.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not always brute force.
Right.
Sometimes it's about controlling the story.
Speaking of story, one of the biggest themes running through The Tempest is illusion and reality.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Prospero's always conjuring illusions.
Manipulating everyone.
It's like a metaphor for the theater itself.
I never thought about it that way.
Right.
Creating this temporary reality.
For the audience.
Whoa.
And, in a way,
Laura,
Prospero is like a playwright.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Orchestrating events, controlling the narrative.
That's so meta.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe this is Shakespeare reflecting on his own craft.
Maybe.
And then at the end,
Yeah.
Prospero breaks his staff and gives up magic.
He does.
What does it mean?
What do you think?
Is he giving up all his power?
It's a huge transformation.
It is.
It suggests that real freedom is letting go of control.
Letting things be.
Right, embracing the natural order of things.
Maybe it's Shakespeare saying goodbye to the stage.
Retiring from playwriting.
Leaving his magic behind.
I like that.
Okay, before we wrap up The Tempest,
Okay.
get me with those iconic lines that'll probably be on the exam.
All right, let's see.
What have we got?
We are such stuff as dreams are made on.
Oh, yeah.
Spoken by Prospero.
All right.
Reminding us that life is fleeting.
We're just visitors.
Yeah, in this big, strange universe.
Okay, what else?
Hell is empty and all the devils are here.
Chilling.
Shakespeare's not shying away from the darkness.
No, he's not.
Not at all.
Any others?
One more. What's past is prologue.
Ooh.
It's a reminder that our past, both good and bad,
Shapes who we are.
and where we're headed.
Powerful stuff.
It is.
I hope you're taking notes, listener. Man, we have covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From those busy streets of Venice
Yeah.
to that mysterious island.
It's amazing what Shakespeare can do.
I know. How much he can fit into one play.
It's like layers of meaning.
You always discover something new.
Always.
Okay, so for our listener who's got that exam coming up,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways from these two plays? Some
Yeah.
things they should definitely know for the test.
Well, I think both plays really get at what it means to be human.
Yeah.
All the good, the bad, the messy stuff in between.
Right. And The Merchant of Venice really throws us into the thick of it.
It does.
Prejudice, justice, mercy, all the different kinds of love.
And revenge, too.
Oh, yeah. It's like Shakespeare's holding up a mirror to society.
Making us question everything.
And then with a Tempest,
On this magical island.
right, like transported to another world.
Where Shakespeare can explore power, colonialism.
And ultimately forgiveness.
Yeah.
It almost feels like The Tempest is Shakespeare's farewell.
Like
His last word.
his way of saying goodbye to the theater.
And reflecting on the big questions.
Yeah, and those iconic lines we've been talking about.
Oh, yeah, those are important.
They're not just nice words.
No, they're not. They offer these insights into what it means to be alive.
To be human.
Yeah, lines like, all that glisters is not gold.
Or, we are such stuff as dreams are made on.
They stick with you.
Long after you finish reading.
They really do. They make you stop and think.
And maybe see the world a little differently.
So listener, as you're prepping for that exam,
Yeah.
don't just try to memorize everything.
Right?
Think about what these plays mean to you.
That's so important.
What speaks to you personally.
It's not just about the facts.
Yeah, it's about connecting with the material.
On a deeper level.
Shakespeare's plays are meant to be discussed and debated.
Exactly.
Figure out what resonates with you.
What makes you think? What makes you feel?
That's what brings Shakespeare to life.
It's what keeps his work relevant.
Timeless.
Yeah. And listener, we're here for you.
We are. Any burning questions?
Any thoughts you want to share?
Or if you just want to talk Shakespeare,
Reach out to us.
we'd love to hear from you.
We're always happy to dive deeper.
All right, listener, good luck on that exam.
You got this.
We know you're going to do great.
Break a leg.